You're about to watch a video that's an excerpt of one of my online courses, free sample if you will. If you enjoy it, please get in touch, dan@brojo.org, and let me know what you think. Now let's talk about a really difficult topic, lie detection. And in the context of this course, how to know when someone's just pretending to respect you when they're actually intending to continue disrespecting you. Now, learning lie detection techniques is actually really difficult. You need to become an FBI interrogator or a long-term police officer or a psychiatrist to get really good at reading like micro body language and noticing tonal differences and all the really subtle signs that a good liar gives away. But you don't actually need to be that good at this. I used to work with master criminals. I used to work with psychopathic personalities who were absolutely genius liars. They were so subtle and brilliant, and when they got you locked in a room face to face, they could pull and push you in these ways that were invisible to anybody unless you're watching detached from the outside. But what I learned is, no matter how much they lie, their actions always tell the truth. Someone can tell me that they got a new job, but I can actually go and check whether or not they got a job. I don't need their words. Somebody can tell me that they're never going to steal again, or I can send the police over to their house to raid their bedroom to see if there's any stolen goods. I don't need to rely on people's words, and neither do you. More importantly, there's a statistical fact, psychologically speaking, that held me in good stead when it came to working with criminal offenders, and that is this: the greatest predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And so there's a very simple measurement technique that you can bring to people, and it's this: have they shown that they've made a significant change in a way that cannot be denied? It's evidence-based. And if the answer is no, then the best way to figure out how they're going to behave in the future is to look at how they've behaved in the past, because they haven't changed. You don't even need to try and categorize people into trustworthy and untrustworthy. Just make it a blanket approach that you will always measure someone's behavior until the evidence of their measured behavior convinces you enough to trust them. This sounds very easy. You might even think you're already doing it, but most people are nowhere near doing this. It is so easy to be manipulated. Promises, faked emotions, superficial short-term gestures, excuses that seem really reasonable and relevant, all of these things throw us off and make us overlook the fact that behavior has not changed or that bad behavior is being repeated. It can always be justified and talked out of, and somebody who generally behaves poorly towards others is good at talking their way out of it. They're good at getting out of trouble. And you've got to be humble and assume that you can be manipulated, assume that people can successfully lie to you. And by successfully, I mean not only do you believe them, but you are actually emotionally moved into having a picture of them as a better person than they actually are. If you can bring that humility to all of your connections with people, whether it's close relationships or distant workmates or anything, and just assume, look, I can't trust my own judgment when it comes to people's words, when it comes to what they say they are. So instead, like a scientist, I need to go and measure the data. What is actually happening? What you're really looking for more than anything else is long-term patterns of behavior. That is where the truth is. What have they been like in the past? What do they repeatedly do? What are they most likely to do in most situations based on the evidence you're aware of? What are they like with other people? You might think someone's really nice to you, and then you notice they're gossiping about other people with you, which means they talk about other people behind their back. What makes you think you'll be the exception? When they're in this type of situation in the past, how do they generally react? What you're looking for is what is most likely to happen based on what you know they've actually done, and trying to extricate that from what they say they are and what they promise they'll do, and just measure them by their actions. Think of likelihoods, percentages, statistics. When you look at someone's patterns of behavior, what are they most likely to do? Not hoping that they'll do the least likely thing. There's a fallacy called the halo effect, which is we want someone to be amazing. Let's say it's somebody we've got a crush on. We want them to be this ideal person. So we paint this halo around them. We see all this good stuff about them and we dismiss all this bad stuff about them. We'll allow superficial or rare gestures to convince us. Somebody opens the door for us, for example. Oh, they're such a good person. and really they're just doing it to manipulate you. Or somebody cheats on you a lot and then goes for 2 months without cheating on you, and you think, oh, they've changed, when actually statistically they're most likely to cheat on you again. What do the numbers tell you? What do the numbers predict? Just because somebody doesn't do something 100% of the time doesn't mean that they won't be most likely to do it. So if someone generally steals from you 7 out of 10 times that they come to your house, then you can be reasonably assured that they're going to steal from you again. Doesn't matter that 30% of the time they don't. That's not actually a relevant statistic. What matters is, what do they do most of the time? So you're looking to be very wary of patterns of deception and lying, even if it's not directly about you, but it's about others. Broken promises, backstabbing and gossiping behind people's backs, short-term commitments with frequent relapses, even if it's not directly about you, like someone keeps promising to look for a new job and they never get round to doing it. That shows a pattern of false promises, broken promises. Somebody goes hot and cold as a pattern, like sometimes they're really nice to you, sometimes really nasty, and the overall pattern is they go nice, nasty, nice, nasty. So nasty's coming again soon. Or situational consistencies, like they're pretty much always awful when they drink, or they tend to build up a certain stress pattern and then explode. If you see these longer term patterns, the best thing you can do is assume it's going to happen again. The only time you assume it's not going to happen again is not when they make promises, but when they show a significant long-term behavioral change, undeniable evidence that they've really transformed. I don't mean something where they behave well for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months, right? We're thinking long-term. We're talking 6 to 12 months at least, just to get out of the probationary period. So they stick with something. They make reparations at a massive self-sacrifice that they wouldn't normally do. They treat people well for a much longer period than usual. They're consistently presenting in a different way. And they've kept it up for so long with no real signs that this might be faked, no cracks in the veneer. So in your mind, if you're trying to deal with someone long term, you think, they're in probation, let's see if they are actually respecting me now. You want to set hard measurements. How would I know for sure, regardless of what they say, that they have actually changed? What's a clear win and what's a clear fail? What is something I measure that cannot be faked? Something that even if they are playing me, this would never lie, right? And what does long term mean? How long do I need to measure this before I can say, yes, this has changed? And then no matter what they say, this is what you measure. No matter what excuses, what promises, what special situations have come up and exceptional circumstances that need to be excused this time. No, they either won or they failed according to those hard measurements, that empirical data. Essentially what you're learning to do is trust facts over feelings and trust behavior over words. Are you a nice guy or people pleaser who wishes they were more assertive, more honest, and better respected by others? Since 2013, I've been helping people just like you discover their integrity and apply it courageously to build deep and meaningful connections, get respected by others, and become the confident person you've always wanted to be. Imagine being able to speak your mind without worrying what other people will think or worrying that it's the right thing to say, and being able to assertively stand up for yourself and your loved ones. Imagine never feeling the need to apologize for who you are or what you want, and being able to live carefree without shame or the I'm not good enough story in your head. Imagine going to bed knowing that you courageously took every opportunity available to you and you've got no regrets because you always know what you should be doing in every situation. I'm so confident in my ability to help people like you unleash your highest level of self-worth that I give people a free coaching session to test what I'm doing. In this 1-hour session, we will uncover the biggest barrier to your confidence, whether it's an awareness problem, you don't know what you should be doing differently, or it's a courage problem, you know what you should be doing, but you find it too intimidating. I will guide you to make a breakthrough with your behavior to get through that barrier in a powerful way without feeling terrified and without destroying everything you love. I've had some people find this first session so powerful that I never hear from them again simply because they didn't need anything more after that. It launched them into the highest level of confidence that they've ever experienced. And if that's the result you get, I'm good with that. One client put it, this session was more valuable to me than 3 years of therapy combined. So if you're tired of trying to keep everybody happy, and you're sick of worrying what other people think of you, and you're concerned that your people pleasing and conflict avoidance is going to damage your relationships, then come and have a talk with me. Worst case scenario, you get to experience what it's like to talk with someone who actually understands what it's like to be you. I've lived the nice guy experience for decades. I know it inside and out. I know that pain. Case scenario, and very likely, you will have such a powerful insight into a behavioral change that you can make in the next 24 hours to significantly improve your confidence, relationships, and career. All I ask is that you be honest, open to change, and willing to try something new. Why wait another 10 years to discover confidence when you can do it today? Fill out the brief form below to apply for a trial coaching session. Do this quickly because there are limited spots each month, and then I'll get back to you to book in a time to talk.